You're listening to the Team Stripes podcast.
Everybody, welcome back to episode 79 of the Team Stripes podcast, proudly presented by Acme Whistles, helping you make the big calls since 1870. The legendary Acme Thunderer is now available in matte black. Acme Whistles, proudly associated with the NHL since 1917. As usual, I have my co-host with me, Ross. Ross, how are you today?
I am doing all right, my friend. Had a long weekend of some really good hockey. Now just hanging out, trying to relax and recover because I got another weekend ahead of me of hockey. So no complaints, doing pretty good. My body's feeling a little old today though. So yeah, other than that, living the dream, hanging out. Got my dogs asleep at my feet, so no complaints today.
That's good.
How are you?
I can't complain. Thankfully, like you, I say thankfully, we are open for hockey in Dallas as well. We had a major tournament here last weekend. We have another major tournament here this coming up weekend. So, kind of like you, I mean, Mondays are my quote unquote days off. I think this is my first day not on the ice, and I believe it was 19 or 20 days. It was something insane.
No, thank you.
Yeah, no, I took Thanksgiving off and then I was back, I guess, after. So I think I did the math yesterday and it was somewhere between 15 and 20 of straight reffing. So I got a nice day off today. I'm pumped about it. I didn't have to
There you
skate.
go.
But I want to hear about your weekend because I think by now everybody's seen the video on Facebook that somehow surfaced.
Yeah, I got sniped. First of all, I'm gonna start. I tonight I decided to rock my OG Tampa Bay Lightning
Nice.
third jersey. What I wish we would have gotten in the reverse retro
I think we
with
all
the
wish they would have done that.
awful lightning bolts on the arms. Anywho, so yeah, this weekend we were fortunate enough for the Florida Alliance, which is the state's only AAA program that I'm aware of. They are the Tier 1 AAA program in Florida. They have basically what they do is they take the best players from all over the state
Mm-hmm.
and form a team to compete at the Tier 1 AAA level. And this weekend we had four of the top 10 U16 teams in the country here in Tampa. They played all the games at Amalie Arena,
That's
which is the
sick.
home of the Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning. So I got to skate 2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday, and 2 on Sunday. The teams that were here, we had obviously the Florida Alliance, we had Detroit Honey Baked,
Oh.
Detroit CompuWare,
Oh my goodness.
and we had a prep school from Rochester, New York as well. So on Friday, I got to ref Honey Baked and I'm sorry, I got to referee the was it Honey Baked? Yeah, so Honey Baked and the prep school team.
Okay.
And right off the rip, play comes into my zone, which was the far end from the video. And the kids skating around the boards caught an edge, and just obviously the ice was wet and just came flying and basically rolled up my leg. And luckily I pivoted quick enough, but I still felt a pop on the outside of my knee.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went down and I laid there for what felt like forever, because I was like, oh God, I didn't want to get up and put on any weight on it because I just thought my knee was done. I had this weird feeling just with the pop and the way I went down. It's like, oh geez, here we go. Meanwhile, after the game, my partner says, who Chris Mariner, our state supervisor, who we have had on the podcast, Chris goes, so my first thought wasn't, man, I hope Ross is okay. It was, fuck, I really hope I don't have to do this 3-man.
You know what? I honestly respect him for that because I've definitely said that many of times before.
But so they blew the play dead. I slowly got up, put weight on it. It's like, okay, It's not gone. But the rest of the weekend and even still today, like the outside of my knee hurts.
Yeah.
So I'm probably gonna go get it looked at one day this week. But the second game on Friday, the Florida Alliance beat CompuWare 5-1.
Holy smokes.
Like, and it's like it was one of those things like never in a million years did I think a team from Florida would be able to compete on that sort of level with these kids.
I was
Now,
going to say, I've seen them before in Dallas, and I mean,
mhm.
they've competed, but they've never, I would say, stood out to me.
Well, apparently, they're number 3 or 4 in the nation right now,
Wow.
ranked wise.
That's, I
Who
mean,
does these rankings? I don't know, but
yeah.
I think by record they're like 3rd or 4th in the country. So they beat CompuWare. They lost to Honey Baked, and I think they beat the prep school team. Yeah.
It's not a bad weekend.
No, not at all. And then we had on Saturday or Sunday a couple really competitive games. I think the best was the Honey Baked and the prep school team played each other, and the prep school team beat them. I think it was 3-2,
Not bad at
and
all.
they were all sorts of psyched because I don't think they'd beaten Honey Baked yet this year. So it was fun. Like overall, the quality with hockey was amazing. Um, I was talking to the guy that runs the Florida Alliance, and he said there were scouts there all weekend because this is their draft year for
The
whether it
6
be
teams.
major junior or going to the USHL or the NAL.
Mm-hmm.
Like all these kids were getting looked at. And one nice thing was he said that everyone was happy with the officiating. Everyone said it was some of the best they've had all season, which made us feel good because we scheduled the best referees we have in the area to work these games, obviously. Um, so that was good. They're going to work on in the future doing more, like get the lightning, the people with the lightning that were there watching the games were like, shit, we need to bring these, teams down more often.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to start being a yearly thing or a multiple year time a year thing where they bring him in for a couple of weekends and skate in Amalie. Because
Yeah, I know the Stars do something along those lines because,
mm-hmm.
like Florida, we only have the one tier 1 team. And so it started off with like, 3 or 4 teams would come down for a weekend. And now it's, 3-4 years down the road, it's Dallas is kind of the place to go for a tier
Yep.
1 team. So,
Yep. So that's kind of what we want to have happen here. We bring in, because I was saying to allies, like, man, we really got to try to bring in like 8-10 of these teams,
mhm.
bring in a few referees, like, make a weekend of it for the refs and the players, maybe even use it for some referee development, but which he seemed to be on board with. So it was exciting. Like, it was the best youth hockey I've worked in a very long time because most of these kids on those teams are all going to go play. I'd say at minimum in the NA in the NAL.
Yeah.
Like, there will be guys that go to the NA3, but most of them are either going to go to the NAL. There are a few kids that like USHL ready that were out there playing. So
Which
that was
just makes
fun.
our lives a lot more fun.
Oh my goodness, it was so easy.
Yeah, because
Like
they
blow,
just play hockey.
blow the whistle, they stop. You
Yep.
call a penalty, they go to the box. Couple of the kids, got a little mouthy, but for the most part, it was like, this is awesome. This is like working much higher level than really what it is because these kids actually get it. And then the
Yeah,
coaches get it too. So like even the little things of, like in your normal run of the mill U16 game, you're doing your line change procedure, everyone's looking at you like, what the F are you doing?
Yep.
These games, the home teams are taking advantage of
Last
their
change.
line change. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
those weekends. I mean, we in Dallas, I think we've had like 3 or 4 like strictly AAA weekends, and they're just the best to work because like
mhm.
they get it. You can treat them like it's an actual hockey game, and they get it, which is
Yep.
huge.
Yep. Yes, it is.
But one other thing that I want to know is, I guess it would have been 2 episodes ago now. The cover picture was you escorting a coach off the ice.
Yes.
And you sent me the video, and the video is absolutely hilarious. We'll definitely put it into the podcast. But I want to know the story from your side of it.
Stolen away and right back. It's Huntsville. Gertler ahead. Oh, no, he never got the shot off. Penalty coming up. Snakes are going to get called as Gingera took a little swipe at one of the Havoc players, and then he got talking to a little bit by Singleton. And he's calling a penalty shot.
Wow. I didn't see that.
Well, wait a minute. Let's make sure. Everybody's the way they're lining up. Baylor's having words with Singleton.
Oh, there goes
Jerome
Bouchard.
But Jerome Bouchard is on the ice.
And
He just took the water bottle, heaved it, and now he is just livid. He's called a penalty shot, I believe, here is what the problem is. And Jerome Bouchard is, take your hands off me. This suit I just got.
Well, he
Jerome
tossed the water
Bouchard.
bottle from the bench and almost hit the official and then came over the wall, and he is getting his money's worth here.
He wants to have a word with the official, and the official just says, now, just watch you get out of here. It's gone. Head coach Jerome Boom Boom Bouchard
He
now
wants to
pick up the
that
puck. He wants the puck in his pocket, puck in pocket. Well, Brad Prefontaine will take over. You know what? This is something that's been boiling over for a while, and
I guess the statute of limitations is up on this event. It was like, oh man, it must have been 6 years ago, 5 years ago. Maybe even longer. Anyway, so this was when I was working full time in the SPHL. It was actually a wild night because I remember in talking to our supervisor after the game that one of the referees ended up in a ditch that night. I'm trying to remember what else happened, but it was just a goofy night all around for everybody. So I'm in Huntsville, and the Huntsville Havoc are playing the Columbus Cottonmouths. So I don't remember what the score was, but there was a play. I think it was a 2-on-1, and guy gets fouled from behind. Huntsville guy gets fouled from behind. The announcer's thinking the referee's calling a penalty shot. He wasn't. Just called a hook. No big deal. So then, like, guys just coming together, whatever. And then the coach of Columbus, Jerome Boom Boom Bouchard, who's a fantastic guy. I love Jerome. He's definitely one of my favorite coaches that I ever got to interact with while working in ESP. He's just losing his mind. Like, going nuts on the ref on something that's clearly a penalty. Now, I will say this. I think his mentality behind it, they were losing.
Okay.
And he was trying to get his team fired up.
So that's the hill he decided to die on that night.
Yeah. So, like, he's going nuts on the bench. So I skate down, like, so me and my partner go over towards the penalty box side because we were getting the guy off the ice. A couple of players went that way. Then I see behind me a couple of players are coming together. So I go back that way. Then I go to get between the benches. Jerome's up there, which if you watch in the video, he's standing there. He's got the Jesus pose going on. And then here comes the water bottle. So he throws the water bottle on the ice. And the referee's like, okay, enough. You're gone. So then Jerome, who just a few months prior had heart surgery, like open heart surgery. He's got a big old zipper on his chest, the whole bit. We talked to him at training camp about it. He jumps on the ice, and I'm the closest guy, so I grab him. And in my head, I'm like, he's gonna have a heart attack. Like, he needs to calm down, or he's gonna die. Like, so I'm like, Jerome, you need to calm down. Like, you just had heart surgery, you need to calm down. So I'm like, we got to get off the ice. So I'm guiding him off the ice, and then we skate by the puck, or I skate by, he walks by the puck, because I'm taking the puck with me. I'm like, what? No. So I reached down to get it, and he got it before me. So he's like, screw you, I'm taking my ball and going home. And then we get him off the ice, and we go to resume play. And he's standing down by the door, which he can't do because he got thrown out.
Yep.
And so then we had to ask security to escort him out.
Yikes.
And if I remember correctly, he ended up in the stands.
I mean, you might as
later
well
in the
watch
game. Yeah.
At that point, you're already there.
It was wild. Definitely one of the more interesting moments of my time working the Southern Pro League.
I mean, that's the only – it's leagues like that where that's the stuff that comes out, and you're just like, I love it. Like, this is hockey. I love it. I absolutely love that shit.
Well, the passion, like, he didn't have to do that. Like, he was just trying to get his team fired up. And if I remember correctly, they at least came back and tied the game. I don't remember if they won or not. It was
so they at least got a point out of it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, hey, then his job's done.
Prior to that, I do remember that they were playing like absolute dog crap that during the game.
So he didn't even want to be there. He was like, "Oh, well, let's just get tossed." I like that.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
just
now, I cannot confirm or deny that there was another coach in the league that we just threw out because nobody liked him.
No, that's different.
I remember one night specifically, I won't name the team that it was, but we were in Knoxville. It was not the Knoxville team. We loved their coach. He was a good dude. So the captain of the other team, the team whose coaches was a pain in the butt, came to us. He's like, can you just throw him out tonight? He goes, he was an asshole to us on the bus the whole ride here. Like, we really don't want to deal with him. Can you throw him out? And we were just like, okay, yeah, whatever. We'll do what we can. And early, like about halfway through the first period, something happened, and he started going. And I want to say the referee didn't even give him the bench minor. He just tossed him.
Just said, see you later.
Yep, see ya.
I love it.
And I remember getting back to the room and having a text message, all three of us having a text message on our phone from our boss. Well, both of our bosses basically saying, good boys. We're throwing them out.
Like, thank you.
Yep. And then, well, since we're, continuing in story time, and I mentioned Knoxville, a couple weeks later, I have a game there where I fell like 4 or 5 times. First period, I went down 3 times.
Yikes.
Like, yeah, it was bad. So after the first period, I get my skates sharpened. Because I don't know, like I just remember, I think it was my right foot. I had no outside edge on.
You think that was the issue?
Yeah, it was a skate. It was a skate issue. Well, once in the period, I did get taken out. Like, it wasn't my fault. The guy plowed me. I was like, whatever. So then in the second period, I fall again. And oh my God. So I hear from the bench, Ross, 3's funny, 4's ridiculous. And then in between the second and third, the Knoxville coach comes in with a bottle of moonshine. Like, here, dude. It was weird dying. It was so funny.
Holy smokes.
So, yeah, enough story time from Ross tonight.
I mean, they're always good stories because in the minor pros, you see everything and hear everything.
Ain't that the truth? But yeah, I'll never forget Jerome jumping on the ice And my initial reaction was, oh my God, this guy's going to have a heart attack. And I'm going to have to give him CPR on the ice
Yeah,
over a hooking minor.
it was funny. I saw the picture. I was like, okay, like definitely have to use this one. And then it's like, I need to know the full story behind this. Like, why is a
Well, and
linesman
it's funny
escorting a coach off the ice?
because I've had that video in my OneDrive since it happened.
Oh yeah, that's something you keep
Yeah, for sure.
because that will never happen again. And one day when you're
well, not
75,
maybe not to me, but
yeah. But when you're 75 teaching the seminars, you'll be like, hey, kids, back in the day.
back in my
Yeah,
day.
exactly. But for this episode, we're really going to just hit on the World Juniors because those are, I believe, now 2 weeks away. They're actually 10 days away, so less than 2 weeks away. So really quickly, this week's episode, we're going to do a Group A preview, which is Canada, Finland, Switzerland, Slovaks, and Germany playing in Edmonton. They're Group A. Group B we'll do, I guess it would be next week, so the week kind of right before the tournament, also right before Christmas.
Wait, US and Canada aren't in the same group?
No, because it goes by how you finished the year prior. So
okay.
Canada being first, I think the US didn't even medal last year. Because the US
Whoa.
came in as they would have to be. Oh no, they might have won bronze because they might be the third seed. No, because Canada gets third seed. The US might even be like fourth seed, fifth seed. I can't remember off the top of my head because it goes Canada's 1 seed because they won, Finland's 3, Switzerland 5, Slovak 7, Germany 9.
So USA is either 2 or 4.
Yes,
probably 4 because they didn't medal.
Yeah, and I honestly I didn't even look at Group B just because we weren't going to talk about them today. But really quickly before we get into the previews, the European teams apparently had some trouble getting over into Edmonton because
some airplane issues.
Yeah, so they hired the IIHF hired a charter flight company to bring these guys over. Apparently, somebody along the way didn't account for personal luggage in amongst all of the 3 European teams that were coming over. It was the Finns, Sweden, Russians. So there's 25 guys on each team plus team staff. They were delayed 4 hours because they were going to have to put luggage into the aisles because
are all the teams on one plane?
Yeah, which doesn't really make sense if you're trying to keep them COVID safe. But again, like,
well, I mean, if they all tested negative, that's one thing. But
yeah, they were trying to take 2 planes over. So what ended up happening was they were delayed 4 hours, and eventually a cargo plane was brought in to carry the equipment over. But it gets better. The plane that they were in didn't have the capacity to fly nonstop from, I believe it was Helsinki, all the way to Edmonton. So it had to stop 2 times, once in Iceland and then once in Goose Bay, Labrador, although like just to get into Edmonton. So the 3 teams that were on that flight had a fun time, and apparently the charter for the Czechs, Slovaks, and Austrians is on hold in Vienna because the plane is too small and there's not enough room for luggage.
Jesus.
So just getting over into North America for these European teams have been a fun one, to say the least. I'm really curious at the end of the tournament if they all 3 get to fly back on the same flight as well, because if something happens during the tournament, now I say that nothing generally does, but who knows how that plane ride could be on the way home. But that is just, I mean, to me is mind blowing. I don't know why you would put 3 teams on one plane.
Yeah,
because each roster is 25 guys plus your team staff. So a little, I guess, bump in the road for those 3 teams, and a little oopsie from the IIHF, which does not happen often, if ever. But
Mm-hmm.
It happens. And a little fun fact, the 30 of 31 active NHL teams are being represented. The only team not to be represented is the St. Louis Blues, which, if I'm a Blues fan, I'm a little bit worried because these kids are going to be in the National Hockey League one day. Or 99% of these kids, I would say, are going to be in the National Hockey League one day. And to not have a single prospect playing in the tournament, I mean, I don't think that means anything bad for the team, but maybe they're not drafting well. I don't know. But the Kings also lead the amount of prospects with 9 guys playing in the league or playing in the World Juniors that are drafted by the Kings, which leads all other teams. I think Detroit was second with like 8. So Kings obviously have a very, very deep prospect pool. If you're a Kings fan, this will be a fun tournament to see all these guys. But I think we have to jump right into it. Group A preview. As I mentioned earlier, we have Canada, Finland, Switzerland, Slovakia, and Germany. We're going to start with the hosts in Canada. These guys are all playing in the Edmonton bubble to start. The Canadian team, all but one player is drafted. So
Wow.
a lot of them obviously went first, second round. The only player not drafted is goaltender Tyler Gauthier, is I believe how you say his name. And he is not drafted because he is eligible to be drafted in 2021. 2021. So next year's NHL draft. I believe he's right now slated as the backup goaltender for Team Canada, which I guess he would be 17, maybe 18. I mean, that's pretty awesome of him. Canada is obviously coming back after winning last year over in the Czech Republic. They haven't gone back-to-back since 2008-09, where they had like their streak of 9 in a row. So I'll be interested to see if they can go back-to-back. I think they have high potential because they have 6 returning players. And I think the biggest factor is Kirby Dach is playing for Team Canada.
Okay.
You might recognize that name because he absolutely tore up the NHL last year with the Chicago Blackhawks. He put up 50 points.
Really? And he's
Yeah.
playing in the World Juniors?
I mean, Chicago said, hey, you're not playing. You might as well, right? Like,
whereas the Rangers were told Lafreniere, sorry, you're staying home.
Correct, which, I mean, if Canada was able to have him, that would be mind-blowing. But Canada has 6 returning players that obviously are looking to defend. I mean, looking at the Canada roster, you look at all 25 of those kids and you're like, yeah, you're going to play in the National League one day, probably sooner rather than later. I think Canada's looking best out of Group A after doing what research I did and what I could find. Obviously, being Canadian, I'm going to root for the Canadians. I hope they win. I want them to take gold, but we will see, obviously. Finland as well is in Group A. They have 17 players drafted, and then seven of the players that are not drafted are eligible in the 21 draft to get drafted. And they even have a kid, get ready for this, that is eligible to be drafted in 2022. Guess what year he was?
Is he a 16-year-old?
Guess what year he was born?
2007?
2004, if my math is correct.
Yeah, that's right. It'd be 04, not 05.
Which,
because the kids this past weekend that I refed were all 2005s, and I was just like, that's the year I graduated high school.
Like it's funny. Like my theory is like when I saw like eligible to be drafted in 2022, like I was like 7 when this kid was born. Like I was watching the Flames in Tampa play for the Cup back in 04 when this kid was born. I was like it was mind blowing to me.
And who won that cup?
The Calgary Flames did in Game 6. Actually,
I got a picture that says otherwise.
Yeah, I mean the NHL just I think they don't want Canadian teams to win it.
Not my Stanley Cup champions.
They're trying to grow the game down south. That to this day is still going to be controversial. But back to Finland, they last year came fourth place, which for the Finnish is I would say disappointing at best. They're really looking for a medal, and I think if you're Finland, you kind of come in with the expectation with Canada of, hey, we're going to medal or we're going to have a chance to medal.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at Group A, Finland's
Well, really, when you think about it, it's USA, Canada, Sweden, Finland, and Russia
correct,
that are
and all the other teams are there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Finland's going to be the only real stiff competition for Canada. I mean, if it in the group play, to say the least. I mean, Switzerland, Slovaks, and Germany, we'll get to them later.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, Canada and Finland are going to be 1-2 in that group, whether it's Finland, it's going to come down to whoever wins Finland, Canada. But I think Finland put themselves in a decent place that they're able to come out and, get first or second in the group, play a so-so team in the quarters, get to the semis, and, once you're in the semis, you're one game away from at least a medal, hopefully. Moving on to Switzerland. Now, I noticed doing this, a lot of the European teams, except for Finland, a lot of their players are draft eligible in 2021 only. So Finland,
so they're running the young kids.
Correct. So Finland's every single player on the roster is eligible in 2021. So next year's NHL draft. They only have 3 returning forwards from last year, which I don't think means a whole lot in this tournament personally. Just because this tournament, I mean, every year there's some new kid, some young stud that comes out and plays really well. But I don't think Switzerland's going to take first or second in the group. But after last year, they made it all the way to the quarterfinals, which for Switzerland is not bad by any means. I see them taking like third or fourth in the group, and I mean avoiding relegation.
Well, they'll definitely be competitive.
Yeah,
and that's really all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. They'll be competitive. They'll make it to the quarterfinals. They'll make it a game, hopefully in the quarterfinals for whoever they play against. There'll be somebody from Group B. But another big name that we have coming is the Slovaks, and I think right now a lot of people
are they the sleeper in that group?
They're the underdogs of Group A. But here's the issue. Last year they played and in the I guess this is the top 10, the elite division. And the only team they beat was Kazakhstan.
Oh.
Kazakhstan's not in this year's tournament because they got relegated. So it'll be interesting for the Slovaks. I mean, they have 2
There's no
players.
relegation this year, right?
Correct. There's no relegation because
of COVID.
Yeah, because there's no, I guess, Division 1, Division 2 World Juniors, so there's nobody to come up, so nobody gets to come down. So if you're the Slovaks, you're kind of thinking, okay, like this is good for us because they have 25 of their players are eligible to be drafted in 2021. 2 of them are able to be drafted in 2022, and they only have 2 drafted players currently. If you do the math there, that is 3 too many players to have on the roster. So they still have roster cuts to make. I don't know when they are finalized or when they have to be finalized, but they still have 3 cuts. As we mentioned, yeah, they are the underdogs, but I think if they can put it together and squeak out wins against Germany and Switzerland, I mean, you get to the 3rd spot in Group A, going over to the crossover quarterfinals, that means they're playing the 2nd place team. So, I mean, they have an uphill battle, but I think if they can get to third, they might have a outside shot at a semifinal game instead of,
Okay.
just avoiding relegation. But for this year, I mean, look, if the Slovaks win, awesome. They're not a medal contender, but they're definitely an underdog to say the least.
Gotcha.
Last but not least, we have Germany. So
Weren't they a big surprise last year?
yes. So everybody's calling Germany the dark horse this year because they obviously were the underdog. I would say last year they shocked one or two teams. They won. They made it to the quarters. They got beat, but I mean, hey, for Germany to make it to the quarters after, I believe it was like their first or second time back in the elite division is what I think they're calling it, like the elites, since 2009. I mean, that's not a bad showing by any means. So they're obviously facing tougher competition than last year, because last year I believe they were in Group B. It was an easier group, but I would say they're medal hunting this year. I think they are coming in with the expectation of, hey, like,
Hey, we surprised some people. Let's see if we can do it again.
yeah, and from everything I was reading, Germany is super up and coming with their junior program. So apparently even 10, 15 years ago, it was non-existent. And now they're turning into one of the better junior programs for prospects, like national junior programs in all of Europe. They are a very young team, as 23 of the players are eligible to be drafted in 2021. Two of them have already been drafted, which to me doesn't say a whole lot, but they are a young team and they will definitely rely heavy on their top line for a lot of their offense, because their top line is three returners from last year that generated a ton of offense. And I think that's going to be a massive, massive amount of Germany's offense this year is just that top line. And if they're firing on all cylinders and they can squeak out wins against the Slovaks and Switzerland, I mean, they're looking at third place there. Who knows? They might even be able to compete against Finland and Canada. I really hope they can. But that was the super quickest rundown I could give from all of my Spark notes that I took. So
Nice.
Group A predictions. For me, I got Canada going number 1, Finland 2, Germany I got 3, the Swiss I have 4, and the Slovaks I have in 5th.
Makes sense.
So the only toss-up is obviously Canada and Finland are 1 and 2. Like it's kind of locked in that these guys are 1 and 2. I think it's almost locked in that Germany's 3 or 4. And then when you look at the Swiss and Slovakia, I think the Swiss should be 4th. But I mean, it's the World Juniors, it's junior hockey. Anybody that knows 16, 18, 17, 19-year-old kids are unpredictable.
Yep.
And hey, you know what? Slovaks come out and say, we got nothing to lose, so screw it. And they end up playing really well. Swiss don't. I mean, Slovaks could take 4th, but
yeah,
I think it's very, very, very unlikely. But
well, like you said, these are young kids. Like, you have a couple of adults, but most of them are still kids. So
yeah,
like, you just never know.
and then
anything could happen. Clearly, the Canadian team has the most talent in the group. They're all drafted.
Yeah,
but one goaltender
because
who will
he's
probably be drafted.
If he's not drafted first round, I would be surprised.
But it's just one of those things. Like, it's going to be fun to watch. It always is. And then we have, obviously, the officiating staff is all Canadian. There are, I think, 1 or 2 guys on the officiating staff that work the coast.
Yeah, I'm not sure
Yeah,
about that.
Tarrington I worked with last year. He's a good kid. He's a linesman. Um, he's there or going there. Maybe I'll try to get him on after the World Juniors to talk about it. That'd be cool.
Yeah, we have a few hookups I think that are there, so that will be
For sure.
awesome if we can get them on. But obviously, yeah, like you said, with junior hockey, I mean, like we've seen it before. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. I think Canada beat Swiss 1-0 because Switzerland's goaltender had like 64 saves.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it was one of those games where you're walking in as Canada, and it's like, okay, Canada's going to win this hockey
Well,
game.
it was like at the Olympics a few years ago too, where they, I think wasn't it Latvia Canada played and
Yeah,
won 1-0
yeah, it was like
because
2-1. Yeah,
Gudleskis, who was with the Lightning
uh-huh.
for a little while, played the game of his life.
Yep. Yeah,
So you get a hot goaltender, who knows what could happen.
yeah. You get a hot goaltender, you get one line that's just absolutely buzzing. I mean, I think that's what makes the World Juniors so great. Is look, these are the best of the best, and it's like they don't they don't have a care in the world when they play. They play freely. It's just a fun tournament to watch. If you haven't ever watched it, I would 10 out of 10 recommend it
Mm-hmm.
because it is. I mean, even in the games that are blowouts, I mean, it's still entertaining hockey. And
For sure.
I think now we're seeing a lot less of the blowouts. I think, 10 years ago, it was Canada, US, Russia, Finland, Sweden. And now it's more like, hey, like, who knows? Maybe Germany has a shot.
Yeah,
Maybe.
as obviously as the game's progressing, more teams are competing just
Mhm.
because of how global the game is and how well the kids are getting coached and all that worldwide. So pretty awesome when you think
Yeah, I
about it.
mean, I don't disagree at all. But that is really all I have for this episode, except for our normal plugs of Ross hit us with the
Oh
Team
yeah,
Stripes Academy.
if you're looking to improve on your officiating, you're new to it, you've been doing it 20 years, doesn't matter. You can always learn. Team Stripes Academy is the master course from the legendary Don Koharski, who's an awesome guy. I have the fortune. I'm fortunate enough to have met him quite a few times. Great person, great teacher, great referee, and it's him and his brother Terry and Jamie and some of the other Team Stripes guys. So definitely check that out if that's something that you're interested in and trying to get better as an official.
And I think this is something we've actually never mentioned, but where you can find that is on the Team Stripes website at goteamstripes.com. Uh, on that website, you'll be able to find all of the tons of new merch that we just dropped with newer alternate logos, whatever you want to call them. We're not necessarily replacing the old one. We're just adding newer designs. My merchandise that I bought is hopefully here tomorrow or the day you guys are listening. Fingers crossed because I'm so excited for it.
Yeah, I got to
But
order some stuff.
yeah, I mean the stuff is amazing. The logos, I think there's like 3 or 4 different variations of logos, and
Cool.
they are all amazing. The person that worked on them worked extremely hard on them. She spent so much time just trying to figure it out, working on it. So a huge thank you to her. And then, as usual, what we've been pushing the past few weeks is our YouTube channel. We are at 974 subscribers as of right
Wow,
now.
we picked up a few.
Yes, we did. So if you're good at
So
math,
do we make the announcement? No, actually, no. I'm not gonna. No,
oh
I'm
no,
not
we'll
gonna
wait.
share yet.
We'll wait.
I'm
Oh,
not gonna share
no,
yet. Let me just say, a friend of mine is being extremely generous with what our prize for the winner of the giveaway is going to be.
And I'm jealous that I can't win it, if we're being honest.
I know, right?
But
So am I, trust me.
1000%. But so we are only 26 subscribers away. If we can get that before Christmas, guys, that would be huge for us. And obviously, if you're one of the 1,000 subscribers, no matter when you subscribed, whether it was day one or you subscribed today, tomorrow, if you're one
If
of
you're
the
number
1,000,
one or number 1,000
Yep.
or anywhere in between,
you have a chance.
you all have a chance of winning this prize.
So do that. Check out our merch. And as always, thank you to our amazing sponsors at Acme Whistles. The matte black, as I say, every single week we have them in our store. They have the Team Stripes logo on them. They are awesome. I love mine. Everybody that I see with a matte black one, I mean, everybody loves their matte black whistles. And
Yep.
you know what? If matte black's not for you, we also have, I guess they're the chrome finish.
Yep.
Just the normal chrome finish silver ones. Those are really nice as well. All of this, go to our website at goteamstripes.com. You'll be able to find everything. And if not, shoot us a message. We will figure it out for you because that's what we're here for.
Sounds good, buddy.
All right. So with that, this episode 79, is wrapped up. So see you guys next week and stay safe.